Alrighty, good morning everybody. My name is Oso. We're playing Farming Simulator 25 on Moss Valley. Excuse me a minute. My joystick appears to be all tangled up. Oh, I'm going to have to deal with that later. I have a big pile of cables behind the desk which aren't playing fair. Okay, so we are on November 1. Walk over here, have a check on the grass. Open that up. So grass is cut, moisture still sucks. This is silage, we can sell that, good. Now we do have, missed, a little bit more money than we had last week. And what happened there was I went out, I did a couple of contracts. So that was a good thing. One was a cultivation contract which just took hours, about 3 hours. And the other one was a mowing contract which took a couple of hours. Sprayers sat there. Our sunflowers would appear to be ready to harvest and really lousy moisture, not to worry. We have our grain cart there and I need to lease a harvester. So, harvesters, and I don't think any of these has a suggested, whoops, oh, that one does. Hang on a minute. Oh, that's a big one, that's why. 285. That is cheap and new. That is also big. Also does the fold up thing. We do have a big one and a small one, but I think we are going to be probably looking at that and that. So let's go customize. Okay, and okay, lease. Please be cheap. Okay, 11,000 to lease that. We'll do that. So we'll get Caleb's friend to come and help with the harvest, and then I'm going to need to lease that too. All right, let's bounce over to here. And all this is really just to get the sunflowers out of the ground so we can get some money and jump into the cab. So, episode 4. And we're finally at the end of harvest, which is a good thing. Should we ride this in cab? Yeah, why not? So, not sure how many sunflowers or how much sunflowers, how large of a yield of sunflowers we're going to get will be. That's not really too much of a worry. We just want to get them out the ground, sell them, make some money, and then we'll see where we go after that. Still don't have a seeder. I have loaded a couple of 3-meter seeders from the mod hub. So hopefully that will give us some options. Also this week, and we won't be planting this week well, okay. I will suggest that we won't be planting this week anyway, because all of the crops we want to plant happen in spring. I do have 1, 2, 3. I've got two. No, yes, I've got 2 big fields. One of which didn't have a crop, one of which had the red beets, and then we've got the small field with the sunflowers in. So I'm probably going to end up planting the same crop in all of them. And at the moment we're just trying to get them all set up and ready to seed. Now, the other thing of importance this week is we are due to get precision farming from Giants, and if that happens, I may just turn it all on. For now, I'm planning on basic crops, and I'm gonna suggest that if the root crops and vegetables don't work too well with precision farming, that's probably there's probably a reason for it. But we'll discover that as we go. For right now, I feel precision farming makes things a lot easier because we can cut down the amount of fertilizer we're using and all sorts of fun stuff like that. We have the sheep. The sheep are doing sheepy things like eating the grass and eating some hay that we made. So where all those silage bales are, we also cut a field and turned it into hay. So the sheep have hay for the winter. And yeah, so farm is progressing slowly. We still haven't had to take out a loan, which is a good thing. Probably regular occurrence of my Saturday streams. We will probably not buy a harvester this coming year either. Kind of what I want to do is expand the number of fields we have. Now, the problem with this map, because we're almost limited, well, we're basically limited to 3-meter equipment or equipment that folds to less than 3 meters. The problem with equipment that folds is we do not have a tractor big enough to haul that stuff at the moment. And I'm stuck on something. What am I stuck on? Oh. And again, this is why 3-meter equipment. Or folding heads. So we'll probably end up with a very small harvester, or a smallish harvester, and we'll use the Cressoni headers, drapers, which fold, so we can get in. And I don't want a big one because, you know, the bigger the header, the less likely we are to be able to get down the road. Although you could mount the header sideways on a low loader, at least a small one. Anyway, here we are. So, well, let us unfold the header, unfold the harvester, and donk, everything's in position. So, on. And since there's really not a lot else to do here, I am going to do this manually. Don't need a worker today. I mean, if I did if there was a reasonable contract, I could actually do a contract with the the Deutz 6 series. I think for now, good grief, we have very, very poor yield on this by the looks of it. So might not even get a full tank. Guess we'll see. But still, it's some income for the farm. Now, I don't know if I did anything else to that field. That looks relatively ready to plant. So we may do that sometime later. Well, in spring. And then this field up here, I have cultivated in now. So that can also be okay, we can get those. I can drive into the hedge. The problem is I don't own the hedge, and so I could end up with the you don't own this field, you can't do what you're trying to do here. Anyway, we're nearly up to 1,000 litres, that's fun. I think the yield problem is probably the moisture, and hopefully it will rain and snow during the winter, and we'll get a fair amount of moisture added to the fields. Then next year we'll have the full spring-summer cycle, which may give us a better yield. Plus there's precision farming, and that might give us a couple of extra things. We'll get that next time round. I'm going to do 2 headlands. There, I don't know, I think the price for sunflowers has just started going down. However, I don't have storage on the farm. That concrete pad there where the truck's parked, I could put a silo for grain. So that may be something we can look at. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. Like I said, I don't want to be spending too much more money because we still have farm expenses. So if I can buy a seeder, I'm going to need to buy some seed. Can't plant canola. I mean, that's one of the things you can do, is to save on some farm costs. You can plant canola because they don't use a lot of seed to plant a field of canola, but we missed that planting window. Plus, canola's not the greatest of crops for financial gain. You do much better obviously with root crops, but that's a pain in the proverbial, plus also $500,000 for a decent harvester. Now we do have the vegetable harvester, but I wonder if the vegetable harvester that working with is just something that the workers can't cope with very well, or whether it's something to do with the fields. I did set the cultivation contract on a worker, and the worker completed that flawlessly. But the cultivator's 3 meters. Anyway, how are we doing? Second time round, quarter of the thing, yeah. We may be lucky to get one carload here. or one harvester tank load. I don't think we'll even get one cart load. I think the cart's a little bit bigger than the harvester. So Thursday we found out the kids have a 3-day weekend, so they've gone up to visit with Grandma this weekend. So no kids this weekend. So Mrs. Osa and I are having a nice relaxing weekend doing things we want to do. I did kind of had the intention to do a railroader stream this week, but yeah, the days just got away from me. I kind of thought, oh, I'll do it Thursday night, and then the kids aren't coming, so okay, I'll do it Friday night. But then we did things last night, so by the time it got round to 8ish, I really wasn't feeling up to much, so gave that a skip. So no railroader this week, but I might put one out tonight. I don't, no guarantees, just a consideration that I've got nothing better to do tonight, then maybe I'll do that. Still a lot of in-the-air issues with model railroading imports. Fortunately, I'm kind of at the point now where I've got all of the stuff I would normally import. I bought it all. I've got a couple of things that are manufactured by American companies in America, so no tariffs on that, no increased prices for those. And then things to do, electrical cables and the likes. That's down to the local hardware store. Cables, ties, connectors, that type of thing. They can just go down to the local hardware store and buy that stuff and have green glues. Water comes through the tap. Dish soap comes from the grocery store. I've got all the things I really need for now. So expensive imports not going to be a thing. Electronics from America are gonna be a thing. They're usually expensive. But I am now right on the verge of beginning to lay some track. Oh, missed it. Which will be fun. And then we'll have track laid. I will need to start wiring things up. I will be soldering some wires, but I'm looking at solderless connectors for a lot of the things because I don't fancy at my age crawling under a table and just trying to solder. Also, power output around the railroad at the moment is a little bit sparse, and you need to have something to power your soldering iron with. I did have a cordless soldering iron back in England, which, it worked okay. But you still had to have a cradle to put the soldering iron in so it could heat up. You know what? Let us do this. Steering assist. 2 headlands, we did that. Work direction. Let's go automatic. And it's going up and down. I want to go it across. So Shall we try 100 degrees? No. It's less than 100. Let's try 70. Oh, that's not 70, surely. I thought that way was 70. That way is 90. But it's saying 70 is that way, which means we want to get to about 25. 20. Really? Okay, so 115. 100. Whoops. Better. That's good enough. So we're still running. And that's of course a 260. 260. That's weird. Anyway, not to worry. Obviously I've still got that leg down at the bottom there, but for now this will work out quite okay. What we really want to do is feel like this. So I'm not going to treat this as a cut-in. All I'm going to do is just drive round in circles and we'll see where we end up later. Outside of those things, I've had a lot of conversations with people online this week about various model railway decisions I've made, specifically to do with point motors and electronic switch output. Because it would appear that the modern electronic switches don't put out a lot of power. The switch unit is a Series 7, a 74. An upgrade on the 6 series, the 64. And they both have a unit limit of 300 milliamps, at 0.3 amps. But the Series 4 has a maximum of going forwards. Maximum of 70 per channel, 70 milliamps. Whereas the 64 does not have a maximum per channel, it's just a unit.